Now these things are a little over an inch thick. I'm going on a real high heat today on our little Weber with some cowboy charcoal. I've got this thing screaming hot right now with some grill grates on top. I'm going to take some oil here and I'm just going to brush our grill grates. And these grill grates are going to just make some incredible grill marks for us. It's going to look really nice, like it just came out of a high-end steakhouse. You can impress your friends in the backyard with these. So I'm just going to put these pork chops on. I like to, oh, did you hear that sizzle? I like to put them on, press them in a little bit. These are going to go for about, these are thick. I'm probably going to go about 4 minutes per side. So I'm going to do 4 minutes, then turn, and about 4 minutes again. So about 8 minutes to a side. Get that sizzle and push that in. Now to go with this today, I'm going to put a little of our Havana heat, which is mango habanero, at the end, which is really going to accentuate that Caribbean flair with the mojo on it, give it a little sweetness with mango, and come in the back with some habanero. And to go with that is going to be a mango salsa that Billy's going to help me out with. And for right now, I'm going to take some of that mango that we cut up earlier, and I'm just going to lace it in here. Just going to move some of these around a little bit, give me some room. Put these on here to get some grill marks on it, to add that little extra flair. You don't necessarily have to do this for your salsa, but I have the space and I like to do just that little extra every time to make it different than other cooks on the grill. All right, so with that, I'm going to grill those off for just a minute and I'm going to turn it over to Billy to tell us about making the slaw.
Yeah, so since we're doing a mango salsa on top of these pork chops and we've got the mojo seasoning, really getting that Caribbean flair, we decided to do a Caribbean coleslaw, which is Caribbean in the fact that it's got mango, pineapple, you can put papaya in it, you can do whatever kind of tropical fruits you want to do. The recipe is going to be online when we get done, so I'm going to go over here and start chopping. You want about 3 cups of purple cabbage and 3 cups of green cabbage. I've already cut up the green cabbage, so I'm just going to do a quick chop on the purple cabbage here. And 3 cups is going to be about half of a large head of cabbage or 1 whole small head of cabbage. You don't have to be extremely neat with this if you don't want. If you like things to be all precise and do the mise en place, you certainly can. If you don't like cabbage, you could certainly do this with daikon radish or jicama. Both of those would be really good. Just something that's got some good crunch. You don't want this to get wilted down. You want to keep a nice big crunch on it when you bite into it. We'll get that put over here.
You know, Billy, when we were talking about some of the flavor combinations that we were going to use in our sauce for the Havana heat, and then of course this recipe, yep. You know, we call it, you know, Havana heat, more of a Cuban, you know, bend to it, which is really more Caribbean in its flavoring, right? So, you know, one of the nice things that happened, you know, back when, you know, Christopher Columbus came in, landed in the West Indies and the Caribbean there, you know, they started the spice trade, the spice routes then, and kind of brought some exotic flavors to the area that they didn't have. So they brought the cumin, they brought the mango, those kind of things were not native in that area, and they brought it. And they brought, believe it or not, the Spanish in about 1823 started bringing in Duroc pork. It came from Spain and Portugal. And it's a red, you know, pig with floppy ears. It's got some great intermuscular fat, you know, and the Compart Duroc pork is even more so, right? So there's Duroc pork and then there's Compart Duroc pork. And we're going to see here in a minute at the end how moist this is going to be when we cut into it. And it's because of that extra care that the Compart Family Farms put in their Duroc line.
All right, so while Bruce was talking about that, I went ahead and put in the green cabbage, which is 3 cups of green cabbage, a couple of carrots, which when we get this mixed up, you'll see adds a nice color to it. I've also put in some flat leaf parsley, probably about 1/4 cup. You want to take a whole pineapple. Now, you can take a whole pineapple like we have here and cut it up yourself, or if you want to save some time, most of the grocery stores these days will have it cored, and all you have to do is take it out and cut it up. So I've got a whole pineapple here that we've cut up. I've also got 2 large mangoes that we've diced up. Put that in there as well. We'll get a good shot of this when we get everything mixed up. You also want to put 3 green onions. You want to chop that up. That's going to give it a nice bite. Not only the color of the green onion, but the green onion itself is not overpowering like some of the white and red onions. So you want to have 1/4 cup of almonds. Give us a little more crunch and a little bit of salt as well.
Right behind you, Billy.
Now that's basically what's in the slaw. Again, you could add papaya if you want papaya instead of mango. You could add guava. You could put whatever fruits you want to put in here. The other part to the slaw is our dressing. Now I've already made the dressing because it really needs to sit for a little while and get cold. In the recipe you'll see that there's honey, brown sugar, some red wine, not red wine vinegar, but just red wine. You can buy red wine cooking wine if you want to do that, if you don't have wine at the house. Some garlic, and then we've also put in some lemon juice, some olive oil, and instead of regular mustard or hot sauce, we decided to use our True Gold mustard sauce to replace the regular mustard. That balsamic in there is really going to give it a nice bite, and we're going to use our Havana heat as well, so we still get that mango flavor in addition to the habanero. So what I'm going to do with that is pour that stuff all the way in there, and I'm going to use my hands here to mix everything up. And we're mixing this up now. It's not going to get wilted. We haven't put any salt in here, so we don't have to worry about the cabbage leaking out a lot of excess moisture. But we do want this to sit for probably 10 or 15 minutes. It can sit out if it's not too hot, or you can put it in the fridge if you want to do that, just to make sure it stays a little bit chilled. This is really good the next day, but as long as you let it sit for a little while, you'll be good. Now before we serve this, what I'm going to do is cut up some more mango to put on top of it. But here, we get the shot from the side camera. Here's what the Caribbean coleslaw looks like. Some really beautiful colors, really beautiful flavors with the mango and the pineapple.
So, you know, another interesting thing, Billy, you know, that we call our sauce Havana Heat, but you would probably never find that flavor combination in Cuba today. The food there is pretty, we'll just say bland, right? It doesn't have a lot of spice to it. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, prior to the 1950s, it had a lot of influence from East Africa, Spain, Portugal, Asia to really influence the food there. And I'm just going to turn these pork chops over. Oh yeah.
Yeah, a traditional Cuban spice mixture is going to be cumin, garlic, oregano, and onion. So there's not a lot of heat to it. My wife is a Cuban by birth, so we like to give a good nod out to her heritage with the mango, which is really big in Cuba. But we wanted to add a little more flavor, so we took the habanero to give that mango habanero, and that puts us more into the general Caribbean area. To get into the Jamaicas and, like Bruce said, into Miami, where you've got a lot of other people mixing in with that Cuban influence. And you find this mix of habanero and mango really consistent in a lot of places.
Yeah, more in that South Florida area, yeah. Where they've really let all those influences and the availability of all the spices. Because in 1950, you know, there was the revolution, and unfortunately, a lot of the food trade and the restaurants just didn't get a chance to flourish there. So the Cuban population in Miami and Tampa, etc., is what really flourished. Now I'm kind of glazing on here our Havana Heat, which has got some mango notes, and it's mango puree. So I don't know if the camera's picking up. You can kind of see some of the chunks in here. That's the sweet onions, the mango puree, the habanero puree, right? This is not flavoring that we use. They're the actual, you know, onions, habaneros, mangoes in this. I'm just going to paint that on there. I'm going to hit the other side when it comes off, or don't want it to burn. It does have some sugar in it, so I don't want it to burn over the fire, but sitting on top of it and getting in there is just fine. Now what I'm looking for on this pork is about 140 degrees for me. That's more my personal preference. Some people tell you you can take pork at 135, let it rest, and it'll go up. I like to take mine off around 140 and let it go up to 145. That's just my personal preference. You no longer need to take pork up to the 165 range like you used to back, you know, before they advanced in the refrigeration and stuff like that. So we're going to look for just kind of like a steak, maybe just a little bit, maybe 5 to 10 degrees more than you would like a steak is how I would like my pork. So I'm just going to give it a test here to see where we are.
What are you cooking on over there?
I am cooking on the little Weber Smoky Joe Jr. over some cowboy charcoal. And
Smells awfully good.
I can tell you, normally I'd like to do about a medium high heat. This thing's screaming right now, probably in the 650, 700 range. So we're getting some good heat with this charcoal. We're sitting in the hundreds, so we got a little bit to go on the pork here. So what you got going on over there, Billy?
So I'm getting your mango salsa ready. If you want to tell them what I'm putting together.
Yeah, so the mango salsa is really just intended to complement the flavor, as well as just make a nice visual presentation. So we've got the brightness of the mango offset with the purple or red of the red onion, the diced tomato. Make sure you get a nice fresh tomato. We're going to do a little green with the cilantro, and then we're going to kind of bind it all together with 2 limes, right? Get that lime juice in there. Let it mix. Normally, if I'm at home, I would do this an hour or so beforehand, put it in the fridge so it has time for all those flavors to really meld. And, you know, but like I said, I took advantage of what we were doing today, grilled off the mango, grilled off the limes, just to add just that next layer of smokiness to it, hopefully a little depth of flavor. And, you know, one of the things that I've always struggled with is skinning and cutting up a mango. The seed is in there in a very odd way, and I think Billy hopefully is going to show us a trick. He told me about it. I haven't done it yet, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, as soon as I finish cutting up your onion here, I'll get started.
This coleslaw looks really good. That's pretty.
Well, we have a lot of it, so everybody here filming today gets a lot of good food.
Yeah, one of the things that we like, you know, when we're doing things is, you know, you eat with your eyes, right? So we want vibrant colors that are going to pop, especially in the spring and summertime. When you think about the Caribbean, you really want that vibrant color. You know, we're doing it with Compart Duroc pork today, which is an incredible product to use. But I also do this same thing with heavy fishes like swordfish, grouper, snapper. You know, any white, dense fish can stand up to the grilling and the flavor. I really enjoy that flavor. So while we're doing this with pork today, you could absolutely do this with fish. Shrimp would also be a great flavor combination with this that holds up with the mango habanero.
Can we get a shot of the salsa over here, or that we put together if you can? So you can see we got some very similar colors to our coleslaw. We got the orange of the mango, we've got the red onion, so everything sort of is going to marry together when we put it on the plate. I'm going to grab a paper towel, Bruce, and I'll come back and I'll show the mangoes.
All right, will do. So I've got some varying heat zones here. So I got some pork that's about ready. I'm going to give it just another minute or so. It's right on the edge there, so we're just going to give it another minute or two. You can, you know, I'm cooking open today. Since these are so thick, you could use the dome, get that convection heat going. It would cook the top a little faster if you didn't have as much time. That would be helpful as well. When you have the bone in there, you know, you can get the boneless chops, but anytime I get the opportunity, I get the bone in. Any meat I can get bone in, I do. For some, I just feel like it adds something special to the flavoring. And then there's a rule at my house that says if the meat has a bone, you're allowed to eat it with your hands. So my son and I really enjoy eating our pork chops and gnawing on the bone. We do the same with steaks as well. You going to teach us a little bit about the mangoes there, Billy?
Yeah, you know, you can find some great things on the internet, and this is one of the things that I found that works really well. When we were putting together the Havana Heat, we went through a ton of mangoes. So figuring out how to get these things, you know, peeled and get the flesh out took some doing. If you'll notice with the mango, it looks round, but it's actually a little bit oval. So you've got two sides that are a little more shallow, and that's where that seed is in the middle. So what you do is you want to come about 1/8 of an inch out from that middle tab where it connected to the tree, and you just want to go straight down. If you happen to go a little too close and you get the seed, like I just did, you just sort of go around it. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do a mango. A lot of people will hatch cut it and then fold it out. What I've found is the easiest way is I make a few cuts on the side to give me a nice big slice. And then I've got an acrylic wine glass here. You can use glass if you want. I prefer acrylic because I'm a bit of a bull in the china shop and I don't want to break the glass. But you want to take it with the flesh down and the skin out, and you basically want to start on the very edge. And then you just push down. Push all the way down. And you end up with a perfectly peeled piece of mango. You don't have any of the outer stuff left on there, so you don't get that bitterness, and it's really thin. You could take, you know, if you're really good with a knife, you could take a nice fillet knife and fight with these, but this is just such an easy way to peel your mangoes. And the other thing my wife loves to do, because she loves mangoes, is once I cut off a little bit of the outside, instead of throwing this pit away, which is nothing but a big seed, you can actually take this and chew on it, suck on it, get all that flesh and all that juice out of it. So there's a lot of stuff left here. For right now, since we have so much of this stuff cut up, I'm just going to put this one in the trash.
All right, so while you were doing that, Billy, I went ahead, some of these pork chops were ready, went ahead and took them off and glazed them up. I've got two kind of set for presentation here, and I got one that we're going to slice up and look at and taste here in a second. And one was a little bit thicker. It was closer to a 2-inch than a 1 1/4, 1 1/2. So it's taken just a touch longer. That happens. That's what live grilling is all about.
Tell you, I love these Gunter Wilhelm knives. I don't care what you're cutting, the right mango or a green mango, it cuts through it. You don't have to worry about it pressing down and mashing it. It's got a sharp edge. Be real careful because you can take the edge of a finger off if you're not paying attention. I know you use them when you're trimming up your pork all the time.
Oh yeah, I love the knives when I'm prepping the meat. Today I did all my prep ahead of time, so that was nice. You know, one of the nice things, especially we're going to be doing a rib cook later this week, personally for the families at the house, and you know, you want to get a knife. You know, when you're trimming your meats, the big porks and etc., you want to get something that has a nice, you know, flex to it that can follow the meat in there. And you know, the longer the fillet knife, the short fillet knife is really nice. Boning knife, you see how it's got that bend to it. That's really important. You know, when trimming up your meat. All right, how you doing, Billy?
I'm ready whenever you're ready.
About ready. I got one that's got a few more minutes on it,
Okay.
but I think we're ready to start dressing up. Why don't you let me see the, yeah. Well,
oh, you know what? I got to do the pineapple.
oh yeah,
That's what we gotta
special treat today. Something you can kind of do at home, party entertaining that might kind of set your stuff apart at a tailgate or whatever. Is we're going to serve up this Caribbean slaw inside a pineapple. Now, since I was talking about the boning knife, I'll use the boning knife. So I'm just going to cut this one up so we can see what the inside looks like, and present some slices as well on our presentation. You know, these bone-in pork chops, they're kind of like a T-bone, right? That have both sides, almost like a fillet and a strip. in it. All right. I'm gonna get some cuts here. Yeah, I'm about ready if you're about ready.
Well, it's not the prettiest cored pineapple out there, but I think it'll do.
I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of lay some pieces here that Lisa can try here in a minute. Put that to the side.
Make sure I get a lot of that fruit.
Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of, for decoration, put a little lime around it. Very nice.
And that does pretty good visual when you're doing a party to have something, you know, take the pineapple, cut it in half. If you were doing a summer barbecue, you could do the same thing with a watermelon and put a nice fruit salad in it. Just sort of adds to the look. Like Bruce said, you eat with your eyes first before you ever have a chance to taste it. Your eyes and your nose when you're smelling it cooking. So we've got that last one coming off, but I think we got some good looking stuff here, Bruce. I know I'm ready to eat.
Yeah, we sure do.
So I think we're gonna have Lisa come in and try some food. She looks eager.
I got my gloves.
That's right.
I got my
Nice
fork.
pink gloves and your fork.
I am
Yeah,
all ready.
I think that
This is absolutely beautiful.
that one right there has your name on
I
it.
don't even want to touch it. It's so
Well, here, let me cut you. Let me see if this one looks good, and I'll cut you one over here.
I've got something to put some slaw in too. So.
This is so beautiful and smells wonderful. I hate to even touch it. It's gorgeous.
Like I said, Bull and China Shop, I hit stuff all the time.
Here we go, Lisa.
The smell is amazing. If we could only pipe the
Here you go.
smell and the taste through, then we'd really have something, wouldn't we?
So again, it's that Compart Duroc pork that's been brined with some mojo seasoning, grilled off on the Weber with the cowboy charcoal, brushed with our Havana heat, finished with a mango salsa and the Caribbean slaw that also ties in with the Havana heat as well and our true gold mustard.
I think it's good.
She might like
It
it.
sounds like it's good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, and that Compart pork, oh the tenderness and of the moisture, just amazing. That is absolutely delicious, and a little bit of heat, but not too bad.
And I don't
not
know,
too bad.
I'm gonna come over here on this
There's nothing dry about that.
camera. You know, this is a Compart Duroc. You can kind of see the moisture in this thing just coming out. It's a little over medium rare. You know, it's more medium, which is just fine. Of course, that's my personal preference. You can go a little rare if you like, but that is just one beautiful piece of pork.
It is delicious.
I'm gonna try some myself.
Burst of flavors in that coleslaw, absolutely delicious. We got a wonderful recipe here for you that you can try at one of your weekend cookouts. It is absolutely fabulous. You will be totally happy with this. And we just want to say thanks so much for watching Dan McHugh Live, and we'll see you next time.